want to go from start to finish with you. Like, I want to know who AJ is, where AJ came from, how AJ went on to write this book about miracles. I want to know it all.
Ooh, we're diving deep, huh?
I feel like this story is one that cannot truly be told without the entirety.
It's it, it's a good question. It's a good statement, because when it comes down to it, my life got real weird, just like all of you. Something happened. Maybe we all died like 6, 7 years ago because everybody's life got a little wild. Everybody started to like think differently. Everybody went from like one 3D reality to like this weird matrix where like anything could happen. So that's what happened to me. And that's what probably happened to you and everybody else. Am I right?
Well, and it was in 2016 for you too as well, right?
Yeah. Probably for most people, I believe. What happened then? Did we all die? It,
Was it a CERN thing? Was CERN activated in 2016?
right? It could be that. It's like the movie Lost. They show Lost. The weird things are happening. It's like, how could that be possible?
Well, what were you doing before that point? How were you led to write this book on miracles, which you co-wrote with Bashar, right?
Yes. So he was. It gets very weird. It's actually gets very strange because I was heavily immersed in the 3D. I had businesses. I was a dean in a high school. I worked in like an administrative capacity. I was a 3D. I worked 14 hours a day. My phone was ringing like crazy. I was going to the gym. I lived that life. I had a family. I really had a straight up 3D life. And, I valued that. But what wound up happening is I had this injury. And I actually go into the idea of injuries in this book because injuries are strange. Anything that knocks you off course, even if it's shitty, it somehow does it purposefully. So if somebody gets knocked off course and they could stay in a little bit of a positive mindset, all of a sudden you're like led to this better path, a more interesting path, perhaps a path more true to yourself. And that's what happened. I wound up having this injury. I was in very good shape. I was an athlete. I played basketball, golfed. I did it, I was very, very active. What wound up happening is I had this back injury and I couldn't walk for like a month. And I was like, oh my God, what's this? The problem was my whole leg started going numb. So I was like, shit, I had to go for surgery. So I go for surgery. This is in 2016. So I'm living this 3D life, this massive 3D life. I am not awake to anything. I don't even think aliens exist right now. I have no, I was 3D. I have no reason, no business of waking up. However, I have this injury. It knocks me out. I get surgery. So I go back into work a few days after my surgery. I wasn't even allowed to be at work. So I go back into work and I'm a dean. And one of the rarest things in the history of the world happened to me. A fight breaks out right in front of me a few days after my surgery. Now, I was the dean for 10 years, and there hasn't been one fight in front of me. So, two football kids, I protected the football kids and the athletes. So, I wound up, you have to protect those kids because some of those kids go on to get like Division I scholarships. They can't fight each other, they'll lose the scholarship. So, two football kids go at it right in front of me a few days after my surgery. So I break up the fight, but I destroyed my whole surgery. I wasn't able to walk after that. I wasn't able to do anything. So I actually had to go for emergency surgery. I was like almost paralyzed from the waist down. So it was crazy. So my life was a normal 3D
So it
life.
was a feeling of like you potentially saved these kids' careers, future careers, but at the same time, like this feeling of the world like crumbling down for you.
Oh, it was the strangest thing. Exactly. I couldn't believe it because one day I had a normal life. And it was right after my surgery. My surgery went well. It was perfect. I was just really not allowed to be like knocking into people and stuff. And I definitely shouldn't have been breaking up a fight. But the universe works in such weird ways. And what I'll do is I'll bring some of the concepts in this book into my story because that's how I wrote the book. Because I started to see like, holy shit, maybe things happen for a reason. So what wound up happening was this. So I break up this fight, but I destroy my surgery. I need emergency surgery after that. I need a third emergency surgery after that. I couldn't walk for 6 months. After my third surgery, 10 days after my third surgery, I get rear ended by a Ford 150 Velociraptor and I can't walk again. So I am fortunate I had businesses on the side. When I talk to people about like navigating this reality, multiple income streams is of the most importance. If you don't have multiple income streams and something like that happens, you're screwed. So, when you get hurt in the Department of Education, they cut your salary off, that's it. So, and then I get rear ended by a car. And I couldn't go to the hospital after I got rear ended by the car because you could actually get in trouble from school. It was just a mess I was going through. So, needless to say, I was in the emergency rooms. I had 3 surgeries, all kinds of back procedures. I couldn't walk. I couldn't feel my leg. So here I was in the best shape of my life. Now I couldn't walk. So now what? Now all of a sudden, I was like, after like a month of like being in horror, like holy shit, this is ridiculous. Level 10 pain, where you could give me 10, 30 milligram Percocets and it wouldn't do nothing. It was like that. It was like most people might not even be able to survive that. But I was able to, after like a month, I was able to look at this like, how could this happen like this? How could this is very strange. What's the universe trying to tell me? Maybe this was meant to be, but because what wound up happening was I finally, for the first time in my life, I had time to like watch TV and like read a book. And I haven't had time in many, many years. And this was great because this is where I started to awaken. I started to, look online, research online, read books, and all of a sudden, like I look and there'd be a book on my desk, a book from, I moved into a new house at this time, and there was just a book there. And it was Ruth Montgomery. If any of you guys don't know who Ruth Montgomery is, she's amazing. She was an original psychic from like the 60s and 70s who worked with Edgar Casey and one of the best psychics of all time, Arthur Ford. And my mother was into Ruth Montgomery. So I was very fortunate to have chosen parents who were not religious per se, but they were spiritual. And I'm from New York City. There's nobody spiritual here like that. So I chose the correct parents in this incarnation because they had these books. And I started reading these books, and I don't know what happened, but I just started to awaken to a new reality. And then all of a sudden, I saw this guy, Bashar. I saw him on Gaia Network. And can anybody hear me? Everybody hear me all right?
We can hear you.
All right, I'm just going to keep spitting then. All right, so I find this guy, Bashar. And all through my life, I had these things that happened and a lot of these lessons, and I could never explain them. But all of a sudden, I put on this one documentary. I'd like to say that I awoken by climbing up Mount Shasta and getting hit with a thunderbolt and awaking to a new reality, but that's not what happened. I was actually felt like a loser because I was like buying football cards on eBay at this time, because I finally had time to do something. And, I haven't like bought cards since I was a child. Maybe I was healing my childhood, healing my inner child. I was buying football cards and I was like, I can't be this much of a loser buying football cards all day, because I couldn't walk. So I was like, you know what? Let me get some documentaries or something like that. So I was like, oh, look at this guy in network. This looks cool. This alien stuff. I like that. So it's interesting. And then I found Bashar. And then when I first heard him speak, basically, if you guys don't know Bashar, I know a lot of people out there. I have Darryl Anka as being the number one channeler in the history of humanity, perhaps. He's the number one orator. He's the number one communicator in this world. And I'll tell you why I drew that conclusion. But just to go on right now, so this guy Bashar, I'm listening to him, and he's like talking, and it's almost like I knew it at the soul level. And I'm sure everyone listening right now is probably the same thing. You know something at the soul level, whether it's a person you meet, whether it's something that happens, you just know it's divinely orchestrated. So when I heard his voice, it like reached into my soul and grabbed me and like pulled me out. And it was like, are you ready? So I didn't know why I got hurt. But all of a sudden, I started to have these strange things happening. So I'm listening to this guy on TV, and he's explaining my whole entire life. Like, what's that song? There's a good song like, "Oh, you explaining my whole entire life." What's that? Anybody know that song? Betsy knows that song. No, I don't know. Anyway, that song.
He's like, come on, guys, I'm here talking by myself.
I don't care. Nobody listens to me anyway. It's all right. But it's like my whole. So what's that from the closely singing my words with his song? That song. Closely. Anyway,
That's Strong
Lauren Hill. Lauren Hill.
Fingers. That's right.
Yeah. Telling my life with his song. Well, this dude was telling my life with his words, and it reached into my soul and pulled me out. And I had many things in my life that I noticed the patterns. I just didn't know how to explain it. However, was able to explain it in a way that I was like, holy shit, this guy just explained my whole entire life. Like, wow. And I was like amazed by the guy. I was like, this is ridiculous. Now, when I first saw him, I thought it was the stupidest thing I've ever saw in my life. I didn't really know what channeling was. I thought it was bullshit. It looks like they get taken over or possessed. Maybe it is possession. But I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter if it's a demon talking to me or an Ewok. If somebody's going to give me life-changing information that I'm going to be able to use to master this reality, then I don't care what's talking to me. So this guy reaches into my soul, pulls it out basically while I'm watching his documentaries, and I start doing some research on him. I'm like, I got to meet this guy, so whatever. So I wound up calling them up and doing like a one-on-one with him, and he blew my mind. And we just clicked, me, him, and he actually has a CEO. Bashar doesn't do this shit for money. So that's one reason why I like him. He's not killing people with money. He charges $35 a ticket when he could be charging $1,000 a ticket. And he actually has somebody else run his corporation. Her name is April Rochelle, and April's the CEO of Bashar Communications, and she does not charge anybody anything. If you want to buy one of his videos, it's like $30. And if you wanted to go see him in person, and I like that. They're not charging $500 to talk to them. So the bottom line is we all clicked. Now, I was in the process of just writing things down. I don't know if I was writing a book at this point, but I was just like, writing my thoughts down, writing, the pattern, writing. I started to say, shit, maybe I got hurt for a reason. What's that reason? And I started to say, who knows, maybe I could write a book or something. I started writing a book. 2 weeks into writing the book, April calls me from Bashar's, and she's like, listen, I know you're a teacher. We were interested in maybe doing a book and perhaps maybe getting it into schools. She's like, if you're interested. And I was like bugged out because I'm writing a book right now, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I said, yeah. So anyway, this project went as far as like 2017. So we really started writing this book like around then, like that many years ago. I wrote another book for them that they're putting out very soon. But to make a long story short, so that happened. So we're starting to write a book with this guy. I'm starting to study him a little bit more and how he his information is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's and I don't know if anybody knows this information, but what he does is he's really basically helps you navigate this reality. He's not telling you any, and what he says, I applied in my life and it worked. And so this book not only includes his information and his channeled messages, but it also includes other people. Because now, while I'm writing this book, this is where things start to get real crazy. And this is how the universe works. So, one of the most important things I want to even say tonight is that every one of us needs to try to do something, like take a step in the direction of like a creative pursuit, because that's like a way you like crack this reality. Because it's like that creative pursuit helps you think a different way. And then you start being led in weird ways. And if you continue to take action on that pursuit, all of a sudden the universe, weird things start happening to like pave the path for you. And let me tell you about the weird things that happened to me. So all of a sudden, I had certain friends of mine. One of my friends was just, he went to West Point. He wound up being a banker. He's my best friend growing up. We went out. I had he was single at the time. So I would always go on like double dates with him. Anyway, while I'm writing this book, he all of a sudden gets a call from a guy from the Florida Panthers. And they offered my friend the CEO. He's the president and CEO of the Florida Panthers. They like offered him the job because they liked him. They knew who he was, and this. So he goes from Goldman Sachs to the president, and I'm like, holy shit! Now he's in a position that if I ever need something, like I can like fall back on him. Now that's not all. While I was a teacher, I helped the football kids. So, and I coached many of the kids too. So certain kids that were, maybe like going to get into college, what I would do is I would help them. My mother-in-law, she's a tutor. So there was one kid who I loved. This kid was the sweetest kid in the world. He was very quiet because he had a very tough upbringing. He didn't just have the projects upbringing. He came from a place called Liberia in Africa. That's a war-torn country. So this kid grew up hearing stories of like his father hiding under dead bodies to feed them. So anyway, this kid I kind of like took under my wing. I would bring him to my mother-in-law. I just needed to get him a 600 so he could get into college. He was a good athlete, but not great. So I was able to, I brought him to my mother-in-law. We just needed him to get a 600 on the SAT. And who knows, maybe he could get a scholarship. And he does. He winds up going to the University of Miami. He gets hurt. His career's over. But then, remember, he comes from war-torn Africa. So where I would quit, where many of us would quit at the first sign of adversity, this kid was not quit. He grew up with stories of his father hiding under dead bodies. This kid goes on to Rutgers. And Rutgers isn't a big football school. And he winds up doing good there. But that's it. His college career's over. He graduates. And I'm happy. Anyway, the kid winds up going to like a practice squad. Now, most people would quit at this time. It's actually stupid to go on, but he doesn't quit. He goes on to the practice team of the Baltimore Ravens. He's a running back. That's a tough position. There was like 6 running backs they had on the team. And it would have taken 6 injured running backs from the Baltimore Ravens for him to make it on the team. And what do you know happens? 6 of those running backs get hurt. And now he starts taking snaps as a rookie with another rookie. And the rookie, he starts taking snaps, if anybody knows football lingo, he would take handoffs from the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL. So him and Lamar build up good rapport. And what winds up happening is this kid who was nobody is now the starting running back of the Baltimore Ravens. He broke many of the team records. This year, he was 3rd in touchdowns in the NFL. He almost went to the Super Bowl had he not gone against Taylor Swift. But the bottom line is, that's another kid who could help me in my endeavors. So I started to see the universe kind of like when I took a step in the direction of this book. I stayed
AJ,
positive. Yeah,
AJ, let's let Bessie sing really quick because she has to leave, and then I want you to tell the rest of this story.
you got it.
Wow. That's amazing, AJ.
Thank you, Vessi.
What an amazing
Can't wait to hear you.
I know she's gonna rock all of our worlds. I've been waiting for this
Lydia.
song all day.
I learned the song. Hi, everybody. Hi, Rachel. Everybody's sacred, Metarites. Everybody here enchanted. Patriot, Johanna, One Stone. Everyone's here. Angel. All right. I learned it, Lydia. I hope I could do it justice.
You're gonna kick ass.
Here we go. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified and then I see the look in your turn around. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever. And if you'd only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. And we'll only be making it right. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. Together we can take it to the end of the line. Love is like a shadow on me all of the time. I don't know what to do, I'm always in the dark. Living in a powder keg, giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start. Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can do, it's a total eclipse of the heart. Once upon a time there was light in my life. Now there's only love in the dark. Nothing I can say, total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you now tonight. And I need you more than ever. And if you'd only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. We'd only be making it right. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. Together we can take it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. I don't know what to do, I'm always in the dark. Living in a powder keg, giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start. Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can say, it's a total eclipse of the heart. Total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Total eclipse of the heart. Thank you.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming here and doing
Vessi,
that.
I don't understand how you could sing all these songs better than the people who
Oh,
made them. It just doesn't make sense. The
Oh,
touch you
She's
put on
she's
those
going to
songs,
Saturday Night
so
Live.
much. I could only imagine. How do you sing every song better than the? She's
that's
putting
not
her own
true.
little touch
Bonnie
on it.
Tyler. Oh, come on now, guys. You're just. Gee, I don't even know what to say. I should tell a joke. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Bessie.
Bonnie Tyler. Give it up
Bonnie
for Bonnie
Tyler.
Tyler. Yeah. Bright Eyes, but she really. Oh, that is Bonnie Tyler, right? I'm not
I have
incorrect.
no idea, but it's you at least. It's your
AJ,
song
you
now.
sound
I
like
just
a
like
old
the
AJ. You
touch you put on that.
AJ, you sound like an old dear friend of mine who is the first person. He rented a studio so that I could record a demo, which ultimately led me to Los Angeles. Because when the time came, when I answered an ad in the Chicago Reader to send in a demo for a project called Siren, I had a demo. It's just crazy the magic and the miracles. So I just can't wait to hear the rest of your story. But you have the same tone as my dear friend.
But wait. I know that you have to leave, Bessie. Can you do
Well, I'm
one
gonna be
more
in.
song?
I'll be in listeners. Oh yeah, I'll do. You want me to do one more?
Yes, do one more before you go.
Um, yeah. Let's see. You guys want to hear a new one?
A new one is good.
Well, it's sort of new. It's I wrote it. I wrote a record on the 17th of September of excuse me of February. I wrote 9 songs. In one day, I recorded each one of them in one go, and I released it. And it was like it was basically a love letter to a family member that I was trying to reach, and it was very difficult to get to them because of some issues I can't discuss. But I did this record, and now they're back home. Let's just say, and things are much better, and it's good. So here we go. It's called Rotten Girls. It's one of 9 songs that I'm working up for a big release. Here we go. Those rotten girls. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Those rotten girls, those rotten girls, those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters, wearing my Chanel. I think they should go to hell. Mononucleosis, those rotten girls, American high school girls, those rotten girls, with those rotten girls, those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters. Shelly thinks she knows what's coming to her, so she takes a swing at Billy. They ditch class. Those rotten girls, those rotten girls, those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters. She had her clothes in her backpack, make sure mother doesn't see her. Then in the bathroom she changes. It's like they've never seen her. Those rotten girls, let's go. Those rotten girls, let's go. Those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters. Those rotten girls, let's go. Those rotten girls, let's go. Those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters. Those rotten girls, scantily clad in their halters. Thank you.
I love it. And I love you.
You be in the video. I need all my girls to be in this video. We all be like,
We
what?
gotta be rotten girls.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
fucking shit up.
You know what's crazy about this song? I don't want to take over. Sorry. I just have to tell you. So this one day that just a bunch of things happened. Like I got one song called "Speeding for the Red Light" because this guy, I went to pick up my son's glasses and from the the eye doctor, and sure enough, like there's no rush. Like there's a red light, and there's this guy speeding in his car to the red light. And this melody popped in my head. You're always speeding, speeding, speeding for the red light. Like all day long, something happened that I had to take note of, make a voice memo. I said, I have to do a record. And specifically, this song was about my friend who's from Sri Lanka, and her friend brought her daughter to the States to go to American high school, right? And, a good girl, right? And she, like, it's all fucking true. And excuse me, it's all true in this song. Like, she's like, like, she said, Auntie, like, should I let them borrow my Chanel? She's like, no! And I'm like, are you gotta be kidding me? I'm like taking notes. I'm like, the song's like in my. She's like, she goes into the bathroom. She has a backpack. She puts a halter top on. Those American girls, and they're such rotten girls. She starts to like, and I'm like, not taking any offense. I was like, Sunetra, I might have been one of those rotten girls, but anyway, here's to the rotten girls, you guys. Rock on. We're not rotten. We're just what are we? AJ.
Rebellious.
Anyway, thank you for allowing me to play my new song, and I'll be here with you in listener. And great story. Thanks for letting me sing, AJ.
Oh,
I
the pleasure's all mine. I'm actually happy you did that because I think of you sometimes with this book because you're following my book has a lot to do with following your excitement. And your excitement is singing and creating. And if you follow that, it just leads you to your greatest life. But you said something even better. You had a synchronicity here, and a song pops in your head, and this experience here happens, and another song idea. And that's how this universe works.
I
There's
was going to say that Vessi is like one of the most magical people in the world because she'll come in here and play a song that just like hits me and it's always right in my heart chakra. Like that's where she hits me every time. And it's like she doesn't even know she's doing it. Like she's just channeling the energy, the collective, the people and playing what she is and it's beautiful.
could actually change the entire world because while everyone's focusing on all the madness out there, it's all energy, I believe. So you have to break the energy, and you break it with like creative stuff, like songs and books and whatever. But just singing is a way to break all this nonsense that's going on, and
And
it messes the matrix up.
and when if I could just say one more thing, when you mentioned,
Sure.
uh, when accidents happen or when life slows you down or like the road kind of takes you off of being so busy, if you will, because of the challenges that you face. Which, by the way, you've gotten through them in big time. It's amazing, AJ. You know, we knocked into our. I walked out. Okay, this happened. I have to share this story really quick, just because our garage door got busted because the car went out of brake and right into it, and the whole thing was just kaput. And you're all probably wondering, where's Vessi going here? Uh-oh, somebody reel her in. We don't know. She's telling a bit about her broken garage door, but honestly, like we couldn't afford it. Anyway, a bunch of like blessings happened after that, and now my son knows how to put the car in park. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say now. I'm gonna go into listeners. Lots of love to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much.
I love you too, Lydia.
Well, you're an inspiration. And this book has a lot to do with your vibration and you living life a certain way without really thinking about the madness and just bringing beauty into the world. And I think if everybody did just a little bit of that, we'd have a new world. So I'll just keep going on with my story. So, anyway, as I'm like, I'm trying to make sense of my life right now because weird things are happening. I'm meeting weird people. Now I'm writing this book. The first paragraph, the first, line of a song, the very first step of anything is kind of the most difficult. And we think that the next steps are like walking uphill, but that's not true. Actually, the steps get easier and easier. It gets more exciting. And when you could see the finish line of something, that's when things get great. But anyway, so here I am. I'm like writing this book now. I'm like, I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know I'm still trying to find out why I got hurt and what's going on. And my friends are getting into these positions. I'm like, holy shit. But they become guides for me because if they could do it and I know where they came from, then maybe I could do something like that. So here I am, trying to follow my highest excitement. And I was like, maybe it's a book. So then, I told you, so I meet with Bashar and them. And, they were interested in writing a book. So I get the key to Bashar's castle. I get to talk to him whenever I want and learn everything for him. And I have him as the top teacher in this world. So I have a real advantage over many, many people as far as knowledge because I believe he is the number one guy. So I start learning from him. I start applying his principles. And all of a sudden, I'm meeting this person, I'm meeting that person. The people around me are getting into these high positions. And he says that's exactly what happens. When you follow your passion and you follow your excitement, the universe starts conspiring in your favor. And that's my secret number 2 in the book. But before I even get into the secrets, I'll just continue to go on because that's not the only person I'm meeting. And that's not the only person I'm helping out. One of my kids, I coached in basketball. Now, this is the universe works in such weird ways. When I was younger, I had back pain. And this back pain prevented me from really playing high level basketball. And I was always like pissed because I was in chiropractic all the time. So I wound up becoming a high school basketball coach. And I wind up coaching a kid. And he looks just like me, the kid. His name's Zach. Now, Zach also had back problems. So when I became a teacher, um, a lot of things I went through when I was younger that didn't make sense made all the sense in the world because these kids had the same problems I had. They had anxiety. I used to have panic attacks and bug out. I don't know if I was possessed. I don't know what the hell happened. But all of a sudden, many of my students had panic attacks. And as I was helping them, I was like healing myself. So this is before I was injured or anything. So I was actually healing myself as a teacher. I was really learning so much. And I was actually everything that happened, I was like, shit, everything is happening for a reason. So let me get back to Zach. So now Zach has back problems. He's like, coach, and Zach's a great athlete. He's like, what do I do? So I bring him to my chiropractor, who I went to, and this guy was cool. He was like a built guy. He was like 25, good looking guy. So he was like, like a big brother to me. And I know he was like a big brother to Zach, so he could talk you through girls and stuff. So Zach goes to this guy, and I'm like, you know what? If I could help one person, that's great. Now Zach, winds up going to him throughout his whole life. Still today, he goes through him for his back. So Zach winds up, playing baseball, being good in baseball. He continues to go to the chiropractor. Zach gets drafted by the Minnesota Twins, and he winds up becoming one of the best players on their team. He took the Minnesota Twins to the playoffs that year, and I was like, holy shit, my back injury, now I'm thankful for my back injuries. And that's gratitude. And that's actually another secret. But now I'm thankful for the shitty things that happen because I'm starting to see, wow, this universe is nuts. Because at least I got this kid, at least he made it, and he really, contributes a lot to me healing his back. So it was amazing. But then Zach gets hurt. And I'm like, oh, it all went for naught. But something even more beautiful happened. Not Zach didn't get hurt. He didn't stop following his passion. See, our passion, I always thought our passion had to look a certain way. Like if I was a singer, my passion would be to be the number one star. But that's not the case. There's other ways to follow passions without, having to sell your soul. So Zach gets hurt, but he doesn't stop there. He does something more beautiful than ever. Zach winds up opening up a baseball clinic. And he's making about twice as much as he's making if he played baseball professionally. And he sent countless kids to not only the pros who are playing right now, the best baseball players in the world. Many of his kids got Division I scholarships, and he's the number one coach, sports instructor in the country. He's working with a couple of Mets right now, but it's just a beautiful story. So I started to see a lot of my shit that I had happening, and I really couldn't think about this, but because I was hurt, I had time to think. And I was starting to put all these stories together like, holy shit, like, wow, maybe everything is for a reason. Then I'm going on, I'm writing this book, crazy things are happening. And, I'm just going to get into the book now. Now, we're in the greatest time you could possibly be alive. This is what you would refer to as the age of information. That means any one of us could learn in a month what would take a king of old an entire lifetime. Now, that's very, very dangerous to the powers that be. They can't really have people discovering the principles of this reality. Because if you do, you'd start discovering how to navigate it. You start becoming this powerful person. And then you're no longer controlled by the matrix. And not only are you no longer controlled by it, you could actually turn around and control it yourself because you know how to manipulate the energy of this reality. And my book shows you how to manipulate the reality. It's actually messed up because I brought the greatest minds together on this book to help me with it. And I think we cracked the code. And while I'm going through this book, I'm also meeting other people. I was reading Billy Carson's book, and out of nowhere, while I'm reading Billy Carson's book, he calls me on the phone. And I was like, holy shit. My life started getting real weird after that. So then I started helping people, learning from everybody. And I was getting so much information. And then all these synchronicities, just like Vessi had a synchronicity with singing, where something happened and it gave her an idea. Synchronicities play a very major role in our path. They are what guides us. So that's my secret number one. Secret number one, first of all, there are 7 principles, 7 laws, what I call 7 secrets that the greatest people in the world have used, from the generals of old to the Age of Enlightenment all the way up till today. They're the same 7 principles keep repeating of what these people do, even from Thomas Edison to Andrew Carnegie. Um, and I'm just going to tell you them because once you learn them, I'd like to say that these were the most complex principles in the world, but that's not how reality works. This world is richly complex. However, navigating it is very easy because this is like a simulation in a way. And in a simulation, you have to make the navigation part easy or else we'd all be bumping into each other. So there's a lot of math, there's a lot of organization. So secret number 1 is miracles are the norm.
Before you go into this, I just need to say really quick. So you've obviously told me these secrets before. I hear you say this in my fucking head. Sorry. I say fuck a lot. But I do. I hear you say it on like a daily basis. And it's like, it brings me back into remembering this.
I hope it helps a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these aren't but I think this book is somewhat holographic, meaning that when you hear these secrets, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that happening. Oh, yeah. And then maybe if you remember that happening, and all of a sudden you can look out for it a little bit more. And then it's like once you start tapping into the belief that there's something outside of our 5 senses, you start to see, and you could see it in our ancient texts, seek and ye shall find. And that's when you start seeking for something outside of yourself, whatever you seek for, whatever answers, whether it's confirmation bias in a news article, or whether it's looking for God or looking for, something outside of our senses, you find it. So miracles in life are the norm. They're not the exception. Our entire life is a miracle. This entire world we live in. And one of the points I bring into the first chapter is the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but just so happens to be 400 times closer so that they appear the same size in the night sky. And how apropos that we had a solar eclipse, that I could bring this point up. That's mathematically impossible. My background is in finance and math and statistics and accounting and economics. I understand numbers. That is mathematically impossible. So now I get hurt. Now I'm learning all these lessons. Now I'm seeing that this reality mathematically is not making sense. And I start changing my perceptions. And changing your perceptions is strange because it's like it opens up new doors. And who knows, maybe you open up, maybe you like activate, more of your DNA. and you start tapping into a higher power. And we have certain beliefs. Our beliefs are programmed since we are born. We get our beliefs from our parents, from evil stepmothers, for people who put us down to make themselves feel better. And most of our beliefs are formed in a certain part of the brain, our reptilian brain. So in the first chapter, I do talk about the very first step in tapping into this miracle force. This miracle force is like Luke Skywalker. It's like the force. Let the force be with you. Because once you tap into this force, you start manipulating reality. And Andrew Carnegie has all his success, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, they all attribute their success to this miracle force that they can't explain. And I'm going to explain it to you now because not many people know that. So this force guides us by synchronicity. And synchronicity are coincidences that are mathematically improbable, almost impossible. Now, when you start, you have one synchronicity, okay, it could be coincidence. But when you start having 1, 2, 3, 4 synchronicities a day, maybe this reality talks to us in the form of synchronicity. And this is what Bashar teaches too. He goes, we are led by synchronicity. Synchronicity guides us, and you got to look out for that. Maybe it's numbers repeating. Maybe it's you say a person's name and they call. Maybe, oh, I don't know if I want to go to the movies, and someone calls and say, hey, want to go to the movies? It's like, oh, wow. Synchronicities guide us. And the more I started to look out for the synchronicities, the more I started to spot them. And I was being guided. And people were calling me, and opportunities were coming my way. My life started getting real weird from there. So as I'm doing this, friends of mine are now getting to these high positions. I'm starting to understand this force, this synchronicity force, the force that this creative force. And one of the most important parts about this is our imagination is how we pretty much activate this force. And the imagination is interesting because it's the key that opens up the door to our greatest life. You'll hear that talk in some of the best books ever written. There's an author by the name of Napoleon Hill. He writes about this very, very, very concept. He says, when it comes to, what did I just say? Sorry. Get a drink first. All right, so he says this. Napoleon Hill says, he just talks about the idea of you take a step in certain directions, you start using your imagination because your imagination, he calls it think and grow rich. But really, it should have been called use your imagination because your imagination comes from somewhere. We don't know where this comes from. Who knows? It could be direct contact with God. When we shut the F up and we follow our passion, sometimes when we get into the creative state, like when we're playing a song, playing the guitar, playing the piano, and we just like get into this channeling state, I think they call it a delta state. And it's really heart-brain coherence. So you could work on the chakras and build heart-brain coherence. So you'll focus on the third eye and the heart, and you try to get them in lockstep. It's what puts people in the zone. And once you get into this state, you could actually lay back and you get inspiration, you get ideas, you get the answers in your life. And if you're typing a book, the words come to you. If you're writing a song, the word comes to you. And in the first chapter, I talk about the song Bohemian Rhapsody. Freddie Mercury wrote one of the best songs in the history of music. And it talks about a guy who dies early and leaves Earth to let everybody face the truth. And who the hell would know that Freddie Mercury would die years later by leaving the world behind and letting everybody face the truth that he died from AIDS? He never told anybody he had AIDS till he died, even though people suspected and they knew. So how did he write that song? Oh, his body hurting all the time. So what happens, you learn from Thomas Edison and Carnegie and Ford and all these people that when you use your imagination, you tap into the future. You could see the future. So when Vessi puts a song and she writes a song down, she gets ideas and inspirations. And these ideas and inspirations are waiting to be found by people. It's almost like a wireless internet, and we're the receivers. Now, most of us are programmed in the reptilian brain. We can't bypass that to get to the higher mind. Once you get to your higher mind, that's where those ideas and inspirations fall through. Now, there's a
Let me
couple.
wait. Can I ask you something really quick about the
Sure.
reptilian brain? Is that what is formed on survival, right?
Yes, our primordial instincts, survival, exactly. Addiction, sex, lower chakras, all that. And it's how they program us. They get us in a fear state, and it blocks out the other senses and puts us in survival mode so that they could program the reptilian brain. So a lot of the powers that be use our reptilian brain in certain ways by keeping us in fear. Like today was supposed to be the end of the world. This gloom and doom, this psyop, this scroll. If they could keep everybody programmed in that state, then all of a sudden they could pretty much control us. And what winds up happening is you have to bypass that. So how do you bypass that? You do it by getting into this delta state, by creating, by following your passion, by lightening up on yourself, meditating, but getting in that delta state, you start bypassing the reptilian brain and you start tapping into your subconscious. Now, the subconscious is made up of our beliefs. Think of the subconscious as a filter, and that filter's tight. And what's happening is the higher mind is trying to give us ideas, inspirations, and trying to show us the way to navigate this reality. But our belief systems are funneling all those ideas out because we don't believe we could do it. We don't believe it's possible. We were told we weren't good enough. We were told we weren't, rich enough. But these are all beliefs. But once you start getting your reality knocked away, that's like when people have this like galactic activation. That's their belief systems expand. You're
AJ, I have to say something really quick because you made me
sure.
realize something with what you were saying about beliefs being lodged within the subconscious mind. From the standpoint of astrology, the moon ultimately is your subconscious and it's formed before the age of 5, essentially. But the moon is also symbolic of emotion, and that is what is utilized essentially to keep us under control. So it was really interesting to hear
Interesting.
you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. See, now we could all share these ideas and like get to the bottom of everything. In the Bible, there's 365 verses. You're going to learn it right now. 365 verses. You're going to know more verses than anybody in the Bible right now. And you want to know what that verse is? Do not fear. Because the Bible seems to be a biology book, a book to navigate this reality by mindset and vibration. And you do it by not fearing, because when you're not in fear mode, they cannot program your reptilian brain. You're tapping into the higher aspects of your brain. These higher aspects, for example, once you start believing your perceptions, you start believing in the miracle force, that there's more to this reality than meets the eye. Your subconscious expands. And then ideas and inspirations you thought were nuts are not nuts no more. And now all of a sudden, they start coming down. And that's what happened to me. So now I believed I could write a book. I believed I could meet these people. I believed I see my friends get into these high positions, and they helped me out with the book so I could bridge the 3D and the 5D by taking these professional athletes and sports executives and merging with the top, educators from Bashar and Billy and all them, and merging this information together and building a bridge. And then it gets real weird after that. So now my friend Matt, my book is coming out this year. So my friend Matt, he's the president and CEO of the Florida Panthers. We're going over this book on miracles, and he's like, "Shit, we're not even going to make the playoffs this year." His team sucked. They didn't suck, but they weren't great. But they were the Florida Panthers hockey team, NHL hockey team. They just squeaked into the playoffs. So I was like, "Thank God, my book is coming out." I wanted him to at least make the playoffs. We have a book on miracles, and this guy's going to get knocked out, and he's helping out, writing in the book, with his name and everything. I'm like, shit. So anyway, he goes up against the best team in NHL history, the Boston Bruins. They just broke the record for the most wins in the history of hockey. They were the best team in the history of hockey, the best regular season team, guaranteed to win the playoffs. and they wind up smoking my friend's team. So my friend's team goes down 3-1. When you go down 3-1 in hockey, no matter what team you're playing, you don't come back. It's too hard to win 3 games in a row in the playoffs. And how is he going to win 3 games in a row against the best team in NHL history? But holy shit, this guy, Bashar's in on this because he knows I'm talking to him about the hockey. Matt's in on it because I'm talking to him about Bashar. And this freaking team comes back against the Boston Bruins and wins 3 games in one of the greatest miracles in NHL history. And they make it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm like, now my doors are blown off because there's many more miracles than this, but this was a pretty big one. And so now I'm writing a book on miracles, and then the people around me who have reached the highest level of, and Matt might be our president in like 5 years. He's a West Point grad. He's one of the greatest guys you could ever know. So I feel that. I can almost see that in his future. But anyway, so this guy pulls off this miracle while I'm writing this book. And I'm saying, holy shit, this universe is bugging me out like a motherfucker. And it's bugging a lot of people out too, because everyone's seeing this and they're like, holy shit. And Matt's like, oh my God, I guess miracles are the norm. It's like that. And so that it's like while I'm living this life, my lessons and my experiences are proving the book. So that's miracle number one. That's miracles of the norm is secret number one. Secret number two is that circumstances in life don't matter. It's our state of being that matters. Our state of being is made up of our unconscious beliefs. Those are deeply ingrained in the psyche. So your mother might have said, money is the root of all evil. You might not even remember her saying it, but she said it. And now you go through the belief that money is evil and you wind up, deflecting money instead of attracting it. And that's how important beliefs are. Beliefs, if you can master your beliefs, you master the matrix. Once we realize the matrix is all the beliefs and programming we buy into, that's the matrix. Once you start creating your own programming, you exit the matrix. And that's how this game works. And how do you do that? You do it by first understanding what state of being is. It's your beliefs create your thoughts create your feelings and thoughts create your actions. That's our state of being. That's our energetic vibration. And it could be measured. How is it measured? It's measured by how we react. That's how we know what our state of being is. So you may be like, oh, my state of being is great. I have a high vibration. All of a sudden somebody cuts you on the road and you're like, F you, and you're chasing them down with a bat, No, it's our reactions to circumstance prove our state of being. So if you could control our reactions, if we could control our reactions, we control our state of being. And that's a very powerful thing to be able to do. And when bad things happen, you can almost laugh at them because all bad things are not bad. Most of the bad things that happen in my life, I've been arrested, everything in the world you could possibly happened to me. And all those negative things turned out to be blessings down the road. So it's a very interesting concept. So secret number two is circumstances don't matter. It's our state of being that matters. And if we could keep our energy up and when a negative thought comes in, you could just like, all right, so what? And just just try to get rid of it and keep your energy, keep your vibration high. You could do it through health. You could do it through nutrition. You could do it through balancing the chakras. You could do it through getting the sun. The mind heals the body and the body could heal the mind. So if you exercise, you could heal the mind. If you meditate and get in a good, emotional state, then it'll heal your body. And so I talk about that. Energetic vibration can be controlled. So now if you understand that there's a miracle force, that's secret number one. Secret number two, if you can control your state of being, and anytime you have a negative thought, it comes from a belief somewhere along the line. So whatever negative thought you have, you could trace that negative thought back by discovering what the belief is around that. But, and that could be the root of money. You're deflecting money. You're afraid to get rich. You're afraid of success. That's a negative belief. Where does that negative belief come from? All of a sudden you look back and you remember, oh yeah, my mother has said that, you know, money's the root of all evil. And once you identify a belief, it's no longer a belief. It's a choice for you to believe in it. You remove the beliefs as if they're removable, as if you never ever had them, as if they were yours to choose to buy into. All the things that don't serve you, you throw out, and that's how this reality works. And this comes from Bashar. This comes from the top teachers in the world. All right. When you have a belief and it's no longer, and you understand that belief, it's no longer a belief, it's a choice. And you get to choose what you want to believe. So that's how you start creating your own reality. Fuck this. This is how I want to do it. No, I don't like that belief. I'm going to do it this way. I don't care. This is what I want to do. And then it's like the demons start leaving you because they're like, shit, this person, we can't control this person anymore. So I'm going to jump to secret number 3, which is the universe conspires in our favor. My worst nightmares became my greatest blessings. And it happened so much. And I gave you the story about Zach, bad things that happened to me. And I had anxiety when I was little. But as I got older, kids with anxiety wound up actually healing me. I helped them and healed them, and they healed me. And I was like, maybe I went through anxiety just to help them. Maybe I went through back pain to help Zach. Maybe I got arrested to help some of these bad kids who always get arrested. And I was able to help every kid, from the worst kid in the school to the greatest kid in the school. So it was amazing. I really helped more kids than many people in this world, because I worked in the largest high school, in one of the largest in the country. It was actually the high school I went to. So very interesting. God put me in this position where I could help the most amount of people in this world. And I started to think back like, wow, I have a kind of fulfilling life. It wasn't like that until I started to wake up. Like, wow. So as I'm going on, I'm discovering these secrets. The secret number 3 is the universe conspires in our favor. My friends are now going on to these high points. I'm meeting these teachers, and they're guiding me. I'm seeing the synchronicities along the way, and the universe just starts getting crazy. I'm starting to be led to even like Liddy and all you. This is a divine orchestration. This isn't a chance meeting. This is how it works. And that's secret number 3. If people realize the universe is always conspiring in our favor, they could relax. And when we lighten up, that's really enlightenment. Not when you know more than everybody else, not when you shove your thoughts and beliefs down people's throat. Just when you shut the F up and just relax, that's how you become enlightened. That's what is said in all the ancient texts and the Kabbalah, everywhere else. When you lighten up on yourself, that's when you become enlightened. When you realize that you have a lot of control here, and you might have a lot more power than you think, then all of a sudden you start really becoming powerful here. And then once I started to understand 3, secret number 4 comes into play. Secret number 4 is the power of momentum. That's basically when you get the ball rolling. It's not like the ball rolls uphill. It's the reverse. It rolls downhill. And what winds up happening is when you take step in the direction, when I started writing this book, when I took a first step in the direction, that's what everyone has to do. So tomorrow, take a step in the direction on something you want to create, or if you don't want to create something, just something, the most exciting thing you could do at that moment. And I'm going to get into that a little later. But anyway, when you take a step, like Vessi's writing a song, when she takes a step in that direction, all of a sudden she's led to, a guitar riff. Then all of a sudden she's led to, oh, wow, this person could play this. Let me call them. And all of a sudden you call somebody, all of a sudden you got a record producer, you got everything. It's the first step in the direction of creation, and then you're guided. And that first step is the most difficult sometimes, but then it gets easier. But stick with it, because this is how you master life. Sometimes you might go one way, I wanted to, be a professional baseball player, but it didn't work out that way. You took a step in that direction. However, instead of doing that, you became a baseball instructor and you wound up helping thousands of kids master it. That is more fulfilling for the soul than if people are just playing a Major League Baseball. So there's a fulfilling aspect to this reality. We're told that we're successful when we make money, when we have cars, but that's not true, because we are born more abundant than anybody in this universe, because Would you sell your eyesight for $1 billion? I use this example. And the answer is you probably wouldn't sell your eyesight for $1 billion. So you're already a billionaire. We're all billionaires. And everything that matters in this reality is free. And that's empowering. So when we play these games of money and wealth and trying to buy cars and do all this, we're playing their game. That's the reptilian brain game, the programming game. However, once we realize that we are richer than the richest people of the world because we have eyes, it's a different wisdom you start taking on. And once you understand that miracles are the norm and this universe is really has a lot, not only organization to it, but it has purpose. And it could be one of the greatest stories you could possibly create for yourself once you start tapping into these forces and truly believing in them. And then you take a step in the direction of your whatever you decide to create, and you create momentum. Because once you start the momentum game, then that momentum takes on an energy force of its own, and it starts guiding you and propelling you, and it starts re-energizing you. So like a snowball rolling down a hill, you get bigger, you get faster, you get stronger as it goes down until eventually you're achieving things that you never thought were possible. And 97 out of 100 people will not achieve something like that. Why? Because they never start. And they don't believe that they could complete it. Because they don't know that the principles of reality are, you were born specifically for that purpose, whatever that purpose is. So once you get going, then the universe will start working its way. It'll start putting people in positions that'll help you. It'll start putting, all of a sudden, if you're a singer, all of a sudden a bar will pop up around the corner from you and they would need a singer and you'll start, that's what happens. That's how this reality works. That's how it works for everybody who mastered this reality. They start to know that the universe starts molding to their greatest life. And that's how it is. And it's really the power of momentum to just get the ball rolling. Then, once you get the ball rolling, once you have the force, once you understand that this universe is really working in your favor and that all you have to do is just manage your reactions and shut the fuck up and know that everything is working in your behalf, then all your demons leave you. You start feeling better. The demons or the energy vampires, they can't feed off you anymore because you have now taken your power back. And now all of a sudden you're thinking clearly, you're feeling better. And secret number 5 is you start getting into the next phase. That's the idea of gratefulness. Gratefulness is the energetic vibration of greatness. Gratefulness is telling the universe. I look at the universe or God or whatever you want to call it. I look at it as a loving parent. Now, when I became a parent, I started to understand this concept. You don't want to give people something if they're not grateful for it. So why should the universe give us anything if we're not grateful for what we have? So once I started to be grateful for all the lessons I'm learning, and once I started to be grateful for the things that went wrong for me, like my anxiety, like my back pain, like my surgery, once I started to really say, thank God for this surgery, thank God for my back pain, because now I woke up to this new life, gratefulness became my new vibration. And then the universe kept giving me things to be grateful for. Money, car, everything I ever needed and wanted. Once I became mature enough to handle money, money started finding me. And gratefulness and giving and helping as many people as I could have brought so many people into my life. And I'm grateful for it. And the universe, I feel like, and one of the secrets is the more grateful we are, the more the universe will give us to be grateful for. And I get into other stories, about this, the idea of wanting versus having. If you want something, you're telling the universe that you don't have it. And if you're telling the universe that you don't have it, then you're not going to have it. That's how much control we have. When they say our thoughts and our beliefs create our reality, this is what they mean. When you give and you give somebody something, you're basically telling the universe that you have. You have to give. And then you get into the vibration of having. And the more abundance you have, the more abundance you will attract. And there's other forms of abundance besides the idea of money. And these are Bashar's 5 forms of abundance. The first one is money, cash. That's a form of abundance. That's how we exchange. Not a bad way to deal with things. We exchange by paper, but there's other forms of abundance. And if you let these forms of abundance in your life, you begin to feel more abundant. And it's energetic vibration. The more abundant you feel, the more abundance you attract. The more grateful you feel, the more gratefulness to be grateful for you attract. So the second form of abundance is the idea of barter. We believe that we have to pay for everything cash. It's not true. You know, Vessi could make Lydia a song. Lydia could give her a free psychic reading. That's called barter. We're going to have to start using these. I hate talking like this. I don't want people following me, but once we start getting into barter systems a little bit, it's another form of abundance. It's how people should be conducting some of their business, because everybody has a skill they could offer. Hey, even writing a book could be a form of barter. You give somebody information and knowledge, and they could pay you for it. So, and a third form of abundance is the idea of synchronicity itself. Synchronicity, inspiration, ideas, creativity. These are forms of abundance, because when you tap into your imagination and your creativity, you could actually bring an idea, a thought, a creation into this world that not only changes your life, but changes the entire world. And those ideas are waiting for each and every one of us. Every one of us who is on this call has came into this reality with some kind of idea, and that idea is waiting to find you. And you happen to be here right now to get this message so that you could shut up tomorrow and find out what that idea is. And when that idea comes, you can remember today. And that's how this reality works. Everything is divinely orchestrated. So gratefulness is the vibration of greatness. You start being grateful for even the bad things, because the bad things are teach you when you go through darkness, when you go through addiction, when you're in trouble and you're in debt and you battle out of that. You look back at those days like they're gold, because the lessons learned are like, forget it. I have all the degrees in the world, but those are nothing compared to the lessons I learned of fucking everything up. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. But so gratefulness is the vibration of greatness. There's a way you could, people say it's very corny, it's very, passe, but at the end of the night, you have like maybe a greatness log, a gratefulness log. You write some things down like, oh, look, I went on a space today and learned this. Somebody gave me a compliment today. You write down the things you're grateful for, and you get in the habit of doing that. And when you write things down and when we say them, we basically communicate with the universe. Our words are very, very important. It's called spelling because these energetic vibrations that we use are spells. They bring things into life. So if you want something to manifest, you tell somebody about it. You tell somebody, I'm going to write a book. My book's going to be coming out. And then it puts extra, you basically tell the universe you're going to create a book. When you tell somebody something, you're actually putting it out into the universe and it comes true. Even a to-do list is a way to communicate with the universe. To-do lists are crazy, because what was happening to me is I would create a to-do list that I didn't even remember. And then 6 months later, I look at the to-do list and I accomplished everything on the list. The to-do list is not for the conscious mind. It's for your subconscious. Write a to-do list and a goal list and let the subconscious work out the deal and everything and set everything up while you enjoy the present moment. And you follow your excitement from one moment to the next. And we'll talk about excitement, because that's the last secret and the most important principle. It's how you discover your purpose in life. So where am I now? So after gratefulness is the vibration of grace. So I'll go over it. The first one is miracles of the norm. It's the force. Once you understand the force, you understand that you can manipulate reality. And our imagination is how we manipulate our reality. Using our mind, bringing in the thoughts and ideas from our higher self. Secret number 2 is circumstances in life, they don't matter. Everything that happened in your life is the best thing that could have possibly happened to you. And the lessons you might have been pissed that something happened 20 years ago, but 25 years, a few years from now, you may learn the lesson that why that happened. And that has happened to me all throughout my life. Every time something bad happened, there was a great lesson. So it's basically revisiting beliefs, getting your emotions under control, controlling your thoughts, and controlling your reactions to circumstance. Something happens to you, be thankful. No matter what that is, you're late for work, you spilled coffee on your tie, but what you didn't realize is that, right, you would have gotten into a car accident. So the universe is always working in our favor, but it's hard for us to realize that. But once you start realizing it, you'll start seeing it. That's how this works. Secret number 3 is the universe is conspiring in our favor. When you take a step in the direction of your best self, the universe starts to move towards you. People move out of the way for a person who knows where they're going. That's a quote by somebody, but that's how this reality works. When a person knows where they're going, the universe parts the seas. So whatever you decide you want to do and you take steps in that direction, the universe will assist you. And that's how that works. So the secret number 3 is the universe is always conspiring in our favor. Secret number 4 is the power of momentum. When you take a step in the direction and you start to be led, all you have to do is just follow that. Keep doing it. Keep following. Keep sticking with it. Stay positive. As you stay positive, as you start developing, momentum, all of a sudden you're guided and you start to see the light. You start to see more of your divine purpose and everything starts to make sense. And when you look back, you realize, shit, maybe I was guided this whole time. Maybe I was just holding myself back. All right. So, then we go to 5. After all that, your life starts going good. You start seeing the magic in this world. You start seeing how this world operates. Then all of a sudden, you're in the vibration of gratefulness. So, secret number 5 is gratefulness is the vibration of greatness. That means you're writing things you're grateful for. When something bad happens, you stay in a good mood. You be grateful, and you be powerful. You know that whatever's happening, it's working in your best interest. And then the energy vampires, the demons, all the negative, succubuses, they leave you so that you start feeling lighter. You start feeling different. You start getting better ideas. You start feeling more clear. You start becoming more positive and things start happening. And all of a sudden, momentum's going your way. Money's coming your way. Everything in your life is working out and people are coming in. And you realize you cracked the fucking code of this reality. And this is what happens. This is why certain people master this reality. They start to understand these principles. And secret number 6 is another mind shift secret. It's just a mind shift strategy. And that is understanding. Secret number 6 is understanding that the journey is the destination. The path is the process. The experience is the gift. And wisdom is like a cherry on top. So it's like amazing. The journey itself in discovering your purpose is one of the greatest gifts we could give ourselves. Many of us are stuck. We don't know what we want to do. We don't know what our purpose is really. We know we like doing this, but we don't know how to just like activate it in a way that will benefit us. But that's the most beautiful time in the world because there's certain lessons that we need to pick up. And then you'll start seeing the magic. But once you realize that discovering your purpose is just as beautiful as acting on your purpose, you'll realize how great this reality is. Discovering our purpose is one of the greatest gifts we could give the universe. It's one of the greatest gifts we could give ourselves in our lives, and one of the most important things in our reality that will fulfill us. Not our purpose, but discovering it and how we went about it and how we tried to do readings over here. But all of a sudden, the readings kicked us out to doing spaces. The spaces wind up turning into podcasts. The podcast, all of a sudden, you get picked up on a show. The show turns into a whole new reality. So that's how this works. All right, now I'm going to skip to secret number 7 now. This is Bashar's formula. Now, I never give this out. I let Bashar do this. Bashar has a 5-step formula for discovering your purpose and activating it and seeing it through to the end so that you could live your greatest life. And Bashar doesn't work with anybody in the entire world. So for him to put this in my book is really, I'm humbled by it. It's an amazing experience, but it's probably greater than me even writing this book, because now I have the teachers that really help me explain a lot of this. I have them helping me out, and I have them experiencing the miracles of the other people helping out on the book. And the greatest people in the world are amazed by seeing this. And it even opened their eyes up how this reality works. So this book was like really divinely orchestrated. And it's not just because it's me or anything like that. This happens for everybody who's able to tap into these. All right. So secret number 7 is the formula. The formula is a simple 5-step process. Lydia, you guys have any questions or anything, or you want me to keep going?
No, I think you're good.
Am I good, guys? You guys, everyone, all right?
I
I
know
don't
he's
know.
talking a lot, but this is what I wanted to do. I wanted him to come here and say all of this, and I wanted to essentially have a copy of it. So
Oh,
go,
good.
AJ.
I just hope I hope I'm right. I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. I took I think I took like half a gummy. I don't even know, but
You're doing
whatever.
fantastic.
All right. So secret number 7, here we go. The finale is called the formula. It's Bashar's 5-step formula. Here it is. Step number 1, you follow your excitement. You follow your passion. What is your excitement? What is your passion? It doesn't have to be a long-term project. This is how you're going to discover your purpose. Maybe your highest excitement at this moment right now is getting a cup of coffee. So you get a cup of coffee. All of a sudden, you're a little energized. You're like, oh, I'll go online. All of a sudden, you see an article. That article sparks an idea. That idea sparks an inspiration. All of a sudden, it leads to other forms of excitement. And that's how this reality works. The emotion, the feeling of excitement is actually how we navigate this reality to our greatest life. It's not just that feeling you have like on Christmas morning, whatever, holiday celebration, when you have that like excited feeling, like you can't wait to wake up the next day. That feeling is a drug for this universe. And when we feel that feeling, when we do things that excite us, that's why when people think big and they stay in that excited state, they master this reality. So Bashar talks about following your excitement, follow your passion. So if it's writing music, you follow that. Your passion will lead to other excitements. And those excitements will lead to perhaps your purpose. And once you discover your purpose, you'll know that everything's divinely orchestrated. And then, I'll give you an example. There's this guy. He played football. He wasn't any good in high school. He was a quarterback. He wasn't good. He didn't even start. He wound up going to college, but he didn't make any college team. But he kept playing football. He liked football. So he goes to college. He played 5 years in college. In his last year of college, he's finally got a tryout. But he was horrible. He barely played in college. So then he winds up working in a grocery store, and he's bagging groceries. This guy, you know, he still loves football, but he's bagging groceries. And everyone's laughing at him. They're like, "Oh man, he was just playing college football. Now he's bagging groceries." So anyway, all of a sudden, he winds up like becoming spiritual. He winds up like believing that there's more to this reality. He has a Christian awakening, very similar to a 5D awakening, where they start to believe that there's more to this reality. So something happened where he had this spiritual awakening, and all of a sudden, he was excited to play football. So anyway, what wound up happening is an arena team out of nowhere popped up right next to the supermarket. So he wound up getting a job at the arena football. He was never going to play for the arena football, but he was going to be a backup quarterback. He didn't care. He was going to make more money than $5 an hour at the supermarket. So anyway, one of the quarterbacks get hurt, and he goes into the arena football game, and he plays a good game. He winds up winning the arena football championship that year. The next year, he wins the Arena Football Championship again, but they didn't make a lot of money. He didn't care. He was having fun playing arena. And then all of a sudden, arena football was a wild style of football. They would just air it out if anybody knows about football. Anyway, there was a team, the St. Louis Rams of the NFL. They played in a dome, just like arena football. So they were looking for a quarterback who maybe could play in a dome, just to be a backup. So they told this guy to come in and practice with them. He did, but he was no good. Anyway, so the St. Louis Rams picked him up on the team. He couldn't believe it. One minute he was working in the supermarket. The next minute he's in the NFL. But that's his excitement. He kept following his excitement. He kept positive. He started to see that this reality works in such amazing ways when you stick with your excitement and you don't give up and you follow it as far as you can follow it. And if it goes to coaching, you become a coach. If it goes to being a trainer, maybe you become a trainer. Or maybe while you're following your excitement in football, all of a sudden you meet somebody that, I don't know, is in banking and you love banking and you become a banker or a lawyer or a psychic or whatever. Anyway, so this guy goes to the St. Louis Rams. He's a backup quarterback. He's never going to play. But what happens for the first year of the Rams? The starting quarterback gets hurt and they gave this guy the ball. Now, they were like, oh, my God, they needed another quarterback. They knew this guy wasn't going to be able to play in the NFL. But he winds up having a good game, his first game. He winds up having a good game his second game. And it was at that time that Kurt Warner turned the St. Louis Rams into the best team in football, and he won the Super Bowl that year for the Rams. This guy went from grocery store worker to Super Bowl MVP, league MVP, and the best quarterback in the league. It's one of the most amazing stories that could ever be told. But how did he do it? He followed his excitement. He stayed with it. And he stayed positive. And he followed the synchronicities. And he tapped into another force when he was started to believe in Jesus and Christianity and that the universe was conspiring in his favor. His lesson, Kurt Warner's story, incorporates all these secrets, and all these secrets could be incorporated in the formula. So step 2 of the formula is you take your excitement as far as you can take it until you can't take it any further. And step 3 is you do it to your best ability and you follow the synchronicities along the way because they actually will show you. Maybe you hit a brick wall over here, but that brick wall is not an ending point. It's a redirection on a new path, and always a better path, a path that's more fulfilling. Now, when I talk about true happiness in this book, true happiness to me is not really success. It's not money. It's not anything but being fulfilled. You don't need to do anything but understand how the universe works, and the wisdom is a form of abundance. And it helps fulfill you, like when you're psychic, like when you have intuition, when you wake up to different laws of this reality, you start having this inner power. This inner power is fulfilling. And when you're in the vibration of gratefulness, you're in the vibration of fulfillment. And fulfillment is true happiness. So that's pretty much it. What do I got? Step 4, you do it to the best of your ability. You stay positive, you follow the synchronicities along the way, and you visit your belief system if a negative belief. So if negative beliefs pop up, it's okay. Those negative beliefs were stored inside of you and programmed inside of you. So you might want to be a psychic and you want to write a book, but then all of a sudden, the big doubt monster comes in and says, you can't write a book. You're a bad writer in high school. You barely passed English. You're going to be the worst writer. I was the worst writer in the world. I never ever thought I'd be able to write a book. But not only did I write a book, I write a book that's already pre-ordered, is a bestseller in 3 categories on Amazon. So that's very interesting. And I was the worst writer in the world. So the doubt monster, you have to visit those belief systems and get rid of that doubt monster. You slay it. All right. And a lot of that doubt monster revolves around our fear of success because change brings us into the unknown. And what I learned is the unknown is not really where the devil hides out. I always thought the unknown, I find the devil. The devil hides in the comfort zone. Our greatest self is in the unknown. It's very scary, the unknown, but our soul craves the unknown. Never ever in my life did I enter into the unknown and not find something better, a better version of me. I found strength. I found a better life, my greatest life, by inviting the unknown. The unknown is where you really become fulfilled. Because once you enter into the unknown and you do things that you were frightened to do and you see how it worked out in your favor, it gives you strength. And you could take that strength to master this reality in every way possible. So that's pretty much it. So you have 7 very basic principles of this reality. I wish I told you that they were very, very complex topics, and they're not. They're very simple topics. And when you talk about this reality, the math and the formulas and the sacred geometry we see throughout this is very simple. It's a Fibonacci sequence. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And you take the number before and you add the number after, and you get the next number in the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence is a program that we see all throughout this reality. And it's how this universe works in such perfect fashion. And I don't know. Any questions? Oh, for
That
real.
was incredible. I'm so happy that you finally put like all of that somewhere because you've told me all of this before, but kind of in like chunks. And so I'm happy that we had like the whole story.